Hello friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade and Hallmark. Today I've got this fun card for my Christmas in July series. It features some beautiful greenery details and some glitter details. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So I wanted to work on my background, and this card is kind of designed after a card that I had created earlier. It was like an elegant card with gray and gold, and I was really inspired by it, and I thought it would be fun for a Christmas card. So I'm taking some Simon Says Stamp Fog ink and one of their background stamps. This is the hand-lettered holiday background stamp. It came out, I don't know if it was last year or year before. And I've got a piece of white cardstock. I've already got this pre-cut to a size slightly smaller than A2. And I'm just going to stamp it down on top of there, and it's going to create this really nice, faint, kind of scripty background. After I get this all cleaned up, I'm going to work on all of my little greenery details. So the greenery that I'm going to be using today comes from another Simon Says stamp set called Berry Stems. And this came out during Stamptember last year. I think it was last year, or 22. And it's got lots of these like berry stems, and it's got some fun greenery and a twig kind of piece here, and I'm gonna ink blend these using some regular distress ink. This is the Pine Boughs ink. I really like this for kind of like wintry, Christmassy colors, because I feel like it, the name says it's pine boughs. It looks like pine, and I really think it's a nice kind of like muted turquoisey green color. I think it goes really well with Christmas reds and whites. I feel like it's just a really pretty color, to use. But you could definitely use a brighter green. You could use, you could cut this out of some regular cardstock. You don't have to ink blend. You could do ink smushing, which would be fun. You could use distress oxides, anything like that. But I was really wanting to use my regular distress inks because I haven't used them in quite a while. And I'm just ink blending really heavy right in the center of these stems, and then I'm blending out to the leaves outside just to create some depth and dimension, just to make them a little bit more interesting. And then I'm going to do something similar with the branches and where the berries are going to be. So I'm going to be using my brown inks. This is walnut stain, and I'm going to do the same thing. I was going to at first just try to ink where the branches are, but this die comes with the little circles for all of the berries, and it cuts out the exact amount that you need for each of these stems, and it'll cover right up over top of where the berries are at. So I just ink blended the whole thing. Wasn't worried about if I had a good ink blend or not. And then for this branch here, I took some vintage photo and ink blended it. Once I was done with my ink blending, I wanted to add some gold to this, just to add to the gold that I'm going to be adding later. And I'm using the Distress Foundry wax in Gilded. I love using this for Christmas cards. It is such a really fun and neat product. It's almost like a liquid embossing powder. That sounds really weird, but it doesn't activate until you heat it up, but it's a liquid form. So it's really, really cool. So I tried to go in and use like a brush and brush on the gold, but it wasn't really going on the way I wanted it to. So I just went ahead and used the tip of my finger, and it worked out so much better. I just wanted to add a little bit here and there, just to add, just some interest to these and add a little bit more gold. And I really love the way that this turned out. I always forget how much I love this Foundry wax because I don't use it throughout the rest of the year until like the holiday times come around, and it's just so fabulous. I really do like it a lot. And you do have to work with it kind of quickly because the air does have a tendency to dry it out. So the quicker you move, the better. And I'm just going around and add it to those little green branches. I do end up later adding it to the twig just to add some more gold to my little kind of floral arrangement, but it's the same process, and I do show that later on. Next, I'm going to grab my heat gun and a pair of tweezers, and again, this activates whenever you hit heat to it. It doesn't take very long, a little bit of heat, and you've got some nice gold accent here. If you wanted to add more, you could definitely do more. If you want to do less, again, or leave it out altogether, you can definitely do that as well. I really like the way that this turned out. I think it looks really neat and elegant. It goes well with the card. Gonna go ahead and get these last couple adhered, or heated up, excuse me. And then I can get my station cleaned up and work on the next element, which is going to be the little berry parts of my berry stems. So like I mentioned earlier, the berry stems dies come with a die to cut out all of the little dots for your berries. And it cuts out the exact amount you need for each one. And I'm just using liquid glue to attach all of these, and I cut them out using just some Schoolhouse Red cardstock. You could, again, if you really wanted to, you could ink blend and then cut it out. If you wanted to keep, with the ink blending that you've done earlier, which is an option, I just found that it's quicker and easier to use just some red cardstock, and I'm going to go add details in later, which I think is a good way to add some interest to these little berries. So again, just using my crystal katana here to add all those on there. Make sure that they're all lined up. And then I'm going to go in and do the smaller berries. Same process. And they just pop right on there. I really love this die. It is super fun. Now, I don't leave it in its full state like this. I do end up trimming it apart to add into my floral arrangement. But you could definitely leave it as is. It's pretty the way that it is, and use it in like a bigger cluster. But I was trying to make it fit into my grouping. Next, this smaller one. And quick and easy. It's super fun to do. I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. We are gearing up to get ready for vacation. We are heading to the beach, and I'm super excited. It's super funny because I'm getting ready to go to the beach, but I'm working on Christmas cards. So I'm trying to get my videos uploaded for you guys while I'm away on vacation so that you have something to watch while I'm away. Next, I'm going to go in with some of my Copic markers and just add a little bit of dimension and detail to these little berries. Again, completely optional. You don't have to do this. You could leave them the way that they are. They're really pretty as their own, but I wanted to add just a little bit of dimension so it matches a little bit more with the ink blending that I had done earlier. And it's just two simple red colors. You could easily use any type of alcohol marker. You could, again, ink blend, anything like that, or just leave them the way they are. Once I'm happy with those, we can work on our greeting. We're going to work on our greeting next, and it is going to be the Joyful die from Simon Says Stamp and CZ Design. This is one of my favorite holiday dies. I've used it in a non-holiday way in a card earlier in the year, and I just love it so much. I love the font, I love the size, I love the shadow, everything. Now, I didn't use the shadow this time, but you definitely could. I just stacked up 3 layers of white cardstock, and then I'm also going to be using a glitter cardstock. I'm not sure where this glitter cardstock came from, but I know that Simon carries some, so I'll make sure to link to that in the description, as well as all of the other products that I used in my card today. They'll all be listed and linked in the description below. Using my favorite Bearly Art liquid adhesive for this. It's my preferred liquid adhesive whenever I'm doing any type of dimensional die cut for a greeting. It holds on really fast, and it's got this nice fine tip on it, and it works out great. I just love this beautiful Joyful done in the glitter. It looks super pretty. Now I'm going to go in with my background piece that I did earlier, and I'm going to use the thin frame die that comes in the Simon Says Stamp Frames die collection. I know they came out with a bunch of like thin frame dies and like a grouping a few years ago. I'll link to this one that I'm using and to that one as well. And it'll they both do the same thing. You can cut a really thin frame out, and I really like this one a lot. It's one of my favorite kind of, I guess, card styles to do because I feel like it gives you like a focal point and a place to kind of anchor things. I've got a top folding A2 sized card base using some Simon Says Stamp 110 pound cardstock, and I'm going to adhere all of my pieces down using that same liquid glue. Make sure I get all of the edges nice and neat here. Make sure all of my text is up the right way. I have adhered it on upside down before. Get that all nice and even. And then I'm going to go in with a really thin bead of glue on the inside of this die cut piece. And that's where I'm going to put my really thin frame that I cut out earlier with that same glitter gold cardstock. And what I'm going to do is it's going to kind of help me like slide the die into place. Like it'll slide through the glue and it'll adhere just fine. I push it into the corners using my little pick tool here, and I get it pushed right into place every time. And then I'll go in with that second piece, and it'll fit right inside of inside that gold piece. So it cuts just enough out that you have a nice little gap to add in that gold frame. Make sure all my text is up the right way. And there you go, we've got our beautiful little gold frame. Now it's a perfect opportunity to start getting my greenery in place. And as you guys know, I am not the best at arranging greenery. I struggle with it every time. I get it right where I want it, and then I have to adhere everything. So I'm happy with the layout here, and I'm just fitting in some extra pieces that I want to add in. And again, as you guys know, it never looks the same the second time around. When I actually go to adhering everything, it ends up changing. But in the end, I do like the way that it turned out. It's one of my favorite cards I've made so far this season. I think it's really elegant and pretty. Really fits with kind of my vibe, I guess. Is that a thing? Kind of my aesthetic, I guess. Before I get too involved with the gluing down of everything, I wanted to get my secondary greeting done as well. So I wanted it to say Joyful Christmas. So I took a greeting from another Simon Says stamp set that just says Christmas, and I'm going to heat emboss it on top of some vellum with some gold, antique gold embossing powder. And this is like an oldie but goodie technique that I've done in the past, and it's always worked out great for me. If you don't have a like sticker maker or double-sided adhesive or anything like that, this technique that I'm going to show you guys works out great. I've done it several times in the past, and as you guys know, that vellum shows adhesive really, really well. Doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to see the adhesive behind it. So I kind of have, I guess, like a hack of hiding it. So I'm going to take a banner die and I'm going to die cut the greeting itself, but I'm also going to cut 2 extra banners of the vellum. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to stack up the vellum, still keep the illusion of the vellum itself, of that kind of like nice foggy sort of cardstock, and I'll still be able to put adhesive behind it. So I'm just coating it with some Simon Says stamp glue stick, and I'm just stacking those up on top of each other, and I'm going to burnish it down after I have them all stacked up with my bone folder, and it's going to create this fun vellum piece that I can put adhesive behind, and you're not going to see it. So going to get my top piece put on there, and it still has the illusion of vellum. It's almost just like a thicker piece of vellum. And I really like doing this because I like the look of it. I think it's very elegant, and I didn't want to use another piece of white cardstock because I was afraid it was going to kind of get lost with all the other white cardstock. So now that I have that all ready, I'm going to go right into getting everything assembled. I'm going to get my Joyful Greeting adhered down here, kind of in the lower like third of the card. I didn't want it right in the center because I wanted to have room to kind of build my greenery around it. And I'm going to tuck these pieces in. I didn't add adhesive to the bottom or like the top part of my greeting. I only did it right through the center. So I was able to kind of tuck these greenery pieces up underneath that greeting. Now I could have probably added all of the greenery in first and then did the greeting on top, but I like the idea of being able to just tuck it in, and I have it in place and I'm happy with it. So everything's going to kind of be anchored on like the L of the greeting. It's all going to kind of, I guess, form outside of that, and that's what's going to give me my look. So once I was happy with all of that, I got my berries tucked in there, I got all my greenery in there. I wanted to add these little twigs, but I didn't want them just to be boring twigs. So this is where I decided to add in some of that Foundry wax to these little twig pieces. And I'm just doing the same thing I did before, as I'm just brushing it on with my finger. And I'm going to heat them up and then tuck them in to my little floral piece here. And I feel like it's a nice addition. It adds some more gold to it, adds some more interest and texture, and just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of those coated. And I did save all of these extra pieces that I put them back inside of my berry die cut container so that if I wanted to use these little gold pieces again in another card, I have them already ready to go. So I'm going to find a nice place to tuck these gold pieces in. And again, it's going to add just some more interest and texture to my little floral arrangement. I really love the way that these looked. I was really happy with this in the end. Just deciding on which little branches I wanted to use. That's why I like die cuts, because they're so versatile. You can use them as a whole, as their own, or you can break them up and kind of use them as you like, which I think is really fun. I think that's why I'm really drawn towards die cuts. I wanted to kind of layer these ones a little bit. This one wasn't quite sticking down, so I needed to add just a little bit more glue to it. Pressing everything into place. I'm going to do one more piece, and I'm going to tuck it in right there, kind of underneath the L, just to add some gold in that area. Perfect. Now that I have that all done, I'm going to add some finishing details on the card itself. I'm going to add the dot above the I, or I guess it's a J. Sorry, I'm so used to saying it's an I, but it's a J. So I just took the die cuts from earlier. I stacked all those up on top of each other. 3 white and then the gold one on top. And then we can add some details to our little berries. Perfect. Love it so much. And I had a little something stuck to the bottom there. I think it might have been some glue. So I just took a mono eraser and buffed that away. Alrighty, now we can get our secondary greeting ready to go in place. And I kind of wanted it to look like it was kind of tucked in as well, like the rest of the greeting. So I did trim it a little bit so I could get it to fit where I wanted it. I wanted to fit kind of right in there, just kind of tucked in like it's coming off of that leaf. And then I decided to go at an angle with the other end just to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to put a piece of foam adhesive behind it. It's just a nice thin strip adhesive. And then I can get it tucked into place. And it looks super cute like that. Joyful Christmas. Love it so much. Next, I'm going to go in with my aqua shimmer pen and cover all of my berries. And then I'm going to go over top of all of my berries with this Nouveau Crystal Drops in Morning Dew. It's like a clear, like a clear coat. And it's going to come out kind of milky, but it will dry completely clear, and it'll make these look like berries, which I'm super excited about. Love the way that this looks. Adds so much dimension and detail and texture to your cards. Makes it look really kind of realistic. One of my favorite things to do when I have any type of berry on a card. And then the glitter underneath will show through, and it'll make them look really shiny and sparkly. And all done there. And one more berry and we're all set. And that will finish up this card for today, guys. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe and the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are enjoying the series, and I can't wait to share with you the next one. I'll catch up with you again real soon. Bye! On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Please consider hitting the subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel.